All right, so we're here for, I guess, the second live for the autumn season, 2025. And today we're talking about farmers markets. Still deciding how I want to set these up, so we'll just kind of get right into the itinerary today since it took so long to get into it last time, and see if anything comes up as far as different teaching methods and things like that. But the book that we have today is a pretty short one. And I know the cover has kind of a young girl and an older gentleman at a farmer's market. I'll share my screen shortly. You know what? I didn't intently check to see if anyone submitted any books for this week, but I don't think there were any submissions. Because I didn't get any emails. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. Remember, if you'd like to have a book that you're familiar with, or even if you're not familiar with, if you just look up books and you decide, hey, I'd like to see what she comes up with in terms of making this into a short itinerary that I share on a Friday, then just submit it. It's about $7 at the moment. And if you'd really like to request one, but you don't want to pay the money, you can email me or send it somewhere else, and maybe I'll do like a prioritizing if anyone decides that they request via Eventbrite. All right. So here we go. Farmer's Market by Cameron Parks and illustrated by Edward Martinez. Now, I got into this last time where I don't think I should actually share much of the book. These are beautiful pictures. Oh, man. Wow. Meet the illustrator. Yay. Edward Martinez loves to paint. He began his work on Farmer's Market by taking pictures of real children. Then he looked at the photos as he painted the children in the story. Look closely, the kids might be based on someone you know. Wow. Greenlight readers. So we have to do some painting. And this has got me thinking about artwork in the classroom, you know, where you can do different types of projects and being a little experimentative. I had students paint for math and had students paint for reading, and it's a great way to summarize, you know? It's a great way to have students maybe pick out a scene, and you could even have a gallery. Now, this is something that I haven't personally done, but you could easily have galleries. You know, gallery walks are a thing for sure already in different ways, where you can have students at the beginning of a lesson do a gallery walk where they have to walk around and get information. It's great for the aspect of, you know, researching and using different sources. There's also gallery walks just to get students to move around, work in groups without having to worry about, you know, the whole desk situation. And then, yeah, so I've done many gallery walks in that sense. I really like using gallery walks for something like history, where you have to use the different sources and they're posted up on the wall and they have to walk around. And a lot of times it gets students to engage more because they genuinely walk past each other, probably speak to each other. And then you can have, you know, primary sources, secondary sources. And what I also really like about it is sometimes you can give resources as a scaffold, right? So if this is a topic that you've been studying for a while, at their desk, they don't have the reference papers, but as a gallery walk, it's available. So it kind of keeps the expectations high at their desk, and they have to put in effort to go get the information. And it's good as a lesson if you don't want them to use their phones, where they have to search. And sometimes they do a little bit of delegation, you know, hey, you go there, I'll go there, and we can see if we can find the answer for this. But other times I've done gallery walks would be if you give students an activity to do and they have to place their answers kind of where it belongs. Like if it's an opinion situation, you could do a little gallery walk where they can place their opinion kind of according to where it belongs. But what I did on this particular day, a long time ago, students were drawing pictures of different parts of a plant's life cycle. And there were just 4 different steps. It was like I don't know, like a bean plant or something. And they had to draw what the bean plant looked like at that part in the life cycle. And it was a jigsaw assignment. So at their tables, one had each step, but then they had to each go somewhere else to figure out where their drawing belonged. And then they talked to each other, and then they did a gallery walk, listening to the circle of life. I mean, that was the thing about teaching is it's really hard because when you talk to people who aren't teachers, it sounds so ridiculous. But when you talk to other teachers who care about teaching, it's so energizing. To the point where sometimes when I meet a teacher, like whenever I would get a new job teaching and I would meet a teacher that I knew liked teaching, I think I always scared them off. But anyway, that's how you can use gallery walks. It sounds like it's always just something on display, but no, a lot of times gallery walks can be for genuine engagement, which ideally, if you go to a gallery, you engage in the artworks and everything. But I'm saying all of that to say you could do a summarization gallery walk where students get to illustrate a certain part in the story along a storyline or something like that. And I think that's really cool. Because even if you have like beginning, middle, and end, or like, roughly these pages, that chapter, whatnot, you could have them trade each other's drawings or descriptions, and they would have to put them where it belongs along the storyline. And yeah, they would have to explain why they put that piece there, and the student could be like, yeah, I was drawing that part in story or something. But with math, I pixelated a drawing. And so pixelation, kind of like the posterizing that we talked about last time, it's good for using the X and the Y axis. If you have a picture and then you're like, okay, everybody, first we're going to paint this one. Okay, I want for you to paint 2, 5. It needs to be this color. And then you just kind of like mix it up. And I'm not saying there should be a bunch of squares at all. But at the end, it can be like, okay, does yours look like this one? And if it doesn't, it still is going to look like a lovely abstract piece of art. Okay. But if it does, then it's going to be also rewarding, more so rewarding, but still not a loss, And I think it's a good way to introduce students. And then yeah, as a teacher, you can move it to a different quadrant, but still really close to the origin, and be like, okay, let's imagine that it's here. Now I want for you to paint -5, 3. Where's -5, 3? Stuff like that. And then you can say, all right, now y'all, let's do a rotation. Rotate your canvas, 90 degrees, 80 degree, 360. And that's really good for what type of math is that? Is it geometry? All right. So now, speaking of artwork and math, farmers markets are where you're going to find a lot of art and a lot of math. Now, the trivia question for last week, or not last week, it was yesterday, was relating to a farmer's market in Wisconsin. And it's a really big farmer's market. Apparently, this farmer's market has music, a lot of vendors, a lot of artwork, workshops, things like that in Madison, Wisconsin. So let's see, what are we going to do today? Where are we going to go? I'd like to find somewhere else to go other than Madison, Wisconsin. even though there's nothing wrong with going there. Let's go to Madison, Wisconsin. Let's see which workshops they have there at the farmers market in Madison, Wisconsin. The Dane County Farmers Market. Is there an apostrophe? Is there? Because I was putting the apostrophe and I didn't see one. And now there's an apostrophe here. So well, luckily, in the trivia question, I don't think I put the name of the farmer's market. So I kind of just avoided that whole question there, even though here it clearly has the apostrophe. So I should hopefully, if I would have put the name, I would have included the apostrophe. Now they're putting the apostrophe everywhere. Now, I mean, of course, it's a farmer's market, but it's also a farmer's market. So I think they're both right. I do like the apostrophe way of thinking of it more, but they're both correct, right? So here we are. Let's look and see which year-round markets. That's cool. They have a Wednesday market that's year-round. Stop it. Let's see what happens here. The Wednesday market, Saturday market on the square, holiday market, late winter market. Now, they mentioned Wednesdays, April 23rd through November 5th. The Wednesday Dane County Farmers Market is located between the Madison Municipal Building and the City County Building. While more intimate than the Saturday market, you will still find many of our favorite DCFM members, as well as a full array of fruits and vegetables, eggs, cheeses, honey, maple syrup, bakery items, cut flowers, plants, and many specialty items. I thought there might be more information about the workshops. At the Saturday Dane County's Farmers Market the Saturday Dane County Farmers Market is conveniently located on the three-lined grounds surrounding the Wisconsin State Capitol Building, otherwise known as the Square, in downtown Madison, Wisconsin. As a producer-only farmers market, our vendors are limited by their production and harvest yields. This means that they may sell out before the close of the market. Please visit the market early for the best experience. Grab your family, friends, and your reusable shopping bags and enjoy a Madison tradition. That's a really beautiful thing. Right, it says 4 events in one. I might have misremembered this detail. Keep it acoustic. Interesting. Busking is permitted on the exterior of the square, but please keep it acoustic. I usually keep it with. I'm trying to think. I usually do. But I've tried the amplifiers. And it does feel quite obnoxious. But yeah. Sometimes it's just worth trying different things. Yeah. So I don't see anything here about workshops, even though I thought I read the word workshop here before. I was probably just thinking of the arts and crafts vendors. But basically, we have to find some painting to do. I was a few weeks ago. I put something about painting at a museum. There was one community museum that offered painting classes like in the fall or the winter months or something. But I wonder if there are paint classes specifically at a farmer's market. Right, yeah. Mm. Now, I'm not looking specifically in Richmond. Painting on the farm. Yay! Learning watercolor and lettering at a farmer's market. Let's see if this is a regular thing. I do occasionally do these itineraries as remembering an event that has already happened because I think